Hi, the doctor's in. I'm Dr. LB, and I am here to help you through your math difficulties. Today, let's take a look at combination of functions. So, if you have a function f of x and a function g of x, then you can find the sum of those two by adding f of x and g of x. You can find the difference by f of x minus g of x. You can find the product by f of x times g of x, and you can find the quotient f of x divided by g of x as long as g of x is not 0. So let's look at a couple of problems. Here we want to find the sum, difference, product, and quotient for these two functions. The first function is f of x equals 5x squared minus x minus 1, and g of x equals x plus 1. So let's look at f plus g. Remember, it's f of x, our 5x squared, minus x minus 1, plus our g of x, which is x minus 1. When we combine like terms, we have 5x squared. That negative x and that positive x will cancel. You have negative 1 minus 1, which is negative 2. F minus g at x is our f of x minus our g of x. Now we have to remember to distribute this negative. So we'll have 5x squared minus x minus 1 minus x plus 1. And again, to combine like terms, we have 5x squared. We have negative x minus x, which is negative x squared. We have negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. To find f times g, we're going to multiply f of x, 5x squared minus x minus 1, times g of x, which is x minus 1. Now, we want to use the distributive property, and I'm going to distribute the x throughout the 5x squared minus x minus 1, and then I'm going to distribute the negative 1 throughout the first polynomial. So, when we multiply x by the first polynomial, we have 5x cubed minus x squared minus x. Then if we multiply negative 1 by everything in the first parentheses, or that first polynomial, we're going to have negative 5x squared. We're going to have positive x, and we're going to have a positive 1. So when I add these together, I get 5x cubed minus 6x squared. The x's will cancel out, plus 1. And then for f divided by g, it's simply our f of x, 5x squared minus x minus 1, divided by our x minus 1. And we must, know that x cannot equal 1 in this case because it will make this undefined. All right, let's look at another one. This one's a little bit more complicated because we have fractions, but that's okay because we can work through these as well. So f of x is now 5x plus 1 over x squared minus 16, and g of x is 3x minus 2 over x squared minus 16. Now, if you notice, we have a common denominator for f and g. So when we go to add, we can put everything over our common denominator. We have 5x plus 1 plus our 3x minus 2. So if we combine like terms, we'll have 8x minus 1 over our x squared minus 16. Now, x squared minus 16 will factor to x plus 4x minus 4, but since we cannot cancel anything out, then we can just leave it in this form. Let's look at f minus g. Again, we have a common denominator of x squared minus 16. So we have our 5x plus 1. And we want to take away our 3x minus 2. So we're going to have to distribute our negative. So we have 5x minus 3x, which is 2x. And then we have 1 plus 2, because that double negative will make a positive 2. So that's plus 3 all over our x squared minus 16. Then we have f times g. Now we know that when we multiply fractions, we multiply the denominators. So we have x minus 16 times x minus 16, which is x minus 16 squared. And then we multiply our numerators, 5x plus 1 times 3x minus 2. So here, you don't have to multiply the numerator out, and we're left with just that term there. So when you have f divided by g, remember that when you are dividing by a fraction, you write the first fraction as it is. You take the reciprocal of the second fraction and you change the operation to multiplication. So our x squared minus 16 will cancel, and we're left with 5x plus 1 over 3x minus 2. So remember that Dr. LB is always in. Please come back for more math help.